Today we're introducing the Enneagram theory. What it is, what are the 9 main types, and what we can understand about it in relationship to our Jungian or MBTI type. So tune in for that. We will discuss about that in the next few minutes. And if you haven't already, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's dive in. Okay, so often enough in the community, we can see that Enneagram comes along and tries to add a little bit more substance and context to our MBTI type. So this can mean that depending on our personality type as described by the Enneagram theory, we can appear slightly differently, and in conjunction with our MBTI type, we can look a little bit differently depending on what our Enneagram type is. So the theory is much older than MBTI, at least the current one that we are exploring. And it has a very spiritual approach at its core, because it focuses a lot on how every human being is basically born and is aligned with this point of essence, this point of balance and connection to the universe. And then because life pulls us in different directions and requires various different things from us, a specific personality type is developed. Hence, we start growing closer and closer to that personality type. So basically, at the core of the theory, they say that personality types are somewhat wrong because they kind of take us further and further away from the true essence of neutrality and balance. Of course, this doesn't mean that we cannot become healthy in our personality type, but that requires a lot of awareness and inner work. So the theory basically places the 9 personality types onto a circle, going from 1 to 9. And it divides these 9 personality types into 3 groups. Therefore, we have group number 1 composed of the types 2, 3, and 4. 2 is the helper, 3 is the achiever, and 4 is the individualist. These 3 types make up the heart types, or the headquadra, if you want to say it like that. And what these types have in common is the fact that they all try to get rid of the same type of emotion, and this emotion is shame. All of these 3 types, 2, 3, and 4, try to get rid of shame by using different strategies. So first of all, we've got type 2, the helper or the giver, who will try to get rid of the experience of shame by somehow believing about themselves that they are valuable and worthy of love as a person. So what they will do is that they will constantly put other people first, they will constantly prioritize the needs and wants of other people, and this will lead to them kind of feeling that, okay, if I put other people first, then I'm also worthy of love, therefore I'm a valuable person. And this is how they try to get rid of this shame that I was talking about earlier. Next, we've got type 3, the achiever, who similarly to type 2 tries to get rid of shame by focusing on achievement and focusing on having extremely good results. Usually this comes at work, but it can also come up in personal contexts, where type 3 will strive to be really good or the best at something, at least in terms of how it looks like to the outside world. Because sometimes maybe they don't know all of the details, maybe they're not an expert, but they have good results, they have good achievements, and this means that other people will validate their existence. So this means that type 3 will try to get rid of shame by proving to themselves that they're worthy as a person because they have the ability to achieve things. Next, we've got type 4, the individualist, who will also try to get rid of the experience of shame, but in a different way. They will try to prove to themselves that they are worthy and valuable by focusing a lot on what their identity is and focusing on kind of proving to themselves that they are special, that they have special characteristics, that they are unique, and their identity is something that they really strive to understand. And they believe that if they're able to do that, then they are worthy of love and appreciation, they're valuable human beings, and this allows them to get rid of this feeling of shame. Next, we've got the other group made up of types 5, 6, and 7, who all create the head quadra or the head group type. This means that they will all have in common, again, an emotion that they try to get rid of. And for them, this is anxiety. Again, they will try to use different strategies to get rid of one of these, of this emotion in different ways. So we've got type 5. This is the personality type who will try to get rid of anxiety by finding safety in the fact that they're an expert in something. They really, really want to be very good at a topic, to have all of the knowledge, all of the information. And that's the kind of thing that makes them feel like, okay, I'm safe because I know something very, very well. I'm an expert in that field and nobody can contest that. And this gives them a feeling of safety. Therefore, they somehow seem to get rid of that anxiety that is probably going to control their lives. Then we've got type 6, the loyalist. This is the type who will always try to be the person who fulfills all of their duties. The person who will always check things onto a list, whether that's a job, whether that's like family responsibilities, friendship responsibilities, or anything along those lines. And it will be very important for them to make sure that they are the person that everyone can rely on. Because in this way, they can get rid of anxiety and they will feel safe. Next, we've got type 7, the enthusiast. This is usually a very extroverted type, a type who always wants to try out all new experiences, who has this fear of missing out. And they always want to do that to meet as many people as possible, to explore as many things as possible. Because in that way, they will be able to get rid of their anxiety and they will feel as though they have enough experience that in the case someone in their lives is going to be missing or something in their lives is going to be missing, they will have other things or other people that they could rely on. Even though they do not give off this vibe at all, this is basically the mechanism that the personality is built upon. And lastly, we have the last group, types 8, 9, and 1, who make up the instinctual group. For these types, the emotion that they try to get rid of is anger, rage. They really do not want to experience this feeling and they do not want to be controlled. And again, they will have different strategies to do that. So first we've got type 8, the most in-charge personality type. They will always want to be in charge. They will always want to control what is going on around them in their relationships, at work, so on and so forth, because they feel like if they're not the ones who are in charge, then other people will be in charge, or life will be in charge, and they will be controlled. And this really, really makes them feel uncomfortable and at unease. So this is basically the strategy that they use to get rid of that anger. Next, we've got type 9, the peacemaker. This is the personality type who hates conflict the most. It's the personality type who always strives for finding peace within themselves and outside of themselves in their relationships. So they will be probably the most conflict avoidant type because they believe that if they avoid conflict, they can feel safe because in this way they can be neutral to everything and nobody or nothing will ever be able to control them. And because they stay out of that, they make sure that they do not experience rage because they really, really don't want to feel it. Then we've got type 1, the reformer. This is the type who will care a lot about making sure that things are very, very well done, making sure that the details are accounted for, making sure that things are very well organized, every detail is in its place, because they feel like if they do that in their work, in their relationships, in their projects, whatever, it will be much more difficult for them to be controlled by anyone else or by anything else. And again, they escape the illusion of not being controlled and they make sure that they do not experience that kind of rage that stems at the core of what their personality type is built upon. The thing is, everyone has a little bit of everything. You most likely can find yourself in all of these descriptions to a certain extent. It's just that some of them are more prevalent in us than some other types, than some other characteristics, and we usually have a tri-type. The tri-type consists of one type from each of these groups. So one heart type, one head type, and one instinctual type. And the order in which we have these three types depends on which one is more strongly manifested in us. So for example, we might have type 3 from the first group, the achiever, type 5 from the second group, and type 9 from the third group. And our tri-type can be 359, or it can be 395 or 593 or whatever order, depending on which one is more, let's say, prevalent or stronger in our constitution. Or we might have 2, 6, and 8, and again, it could be 2, 6, 8 or 8, 6, 2 or 8, 2, 6, and so on and so forth. So thank you guys, thank you a lot for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you next time with another video.